So happy morning to everyone. Once again, we are here to fall in love with OET. It's not something like practice, but we would like to call a journey that is thrilling and enjoyable. And let's travel together. Don't take it as a session, but we'll just go on a journey, enjoying, questioning others, how to frame a question and all those things. If you're watching this on YouTube, kindly give us a thumbs up if you like the work, and please do subscribe and share to others so that everybody benefits from it. We are able to reach out maximum, especially those who are poor and struggling in a lot of ways to get through OED. So this is our mission, to support those people who are the least and the struggling and the poor and marginalized, who cannot reach or pass OET or get through the OET because of financial reasons or other struggles. So let me share my screen. Okay, am I visible? The screen?
Yes, Father.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So as usual, everybody kindly mute your audio. The admin or manager, somebody can respond to me if need be, if I'm not audible. And after maybe 20 or 25 minutes, we'll get into the Q&A, whereby you'll be able to ask your concerns and doubts. Until then, if you need to come back to any of the slides, you can just jot down, take a pen and paper and try to write down. Maybe screenshots are fine, but then that's better to take the notes. That will help you a lot to grasp the whole thing. Yes. So OET 2.0 speaking question format. The asking questions, the key skills that we are going to deal with today. And the content of today's webinar is why asking questions, information gathering framework. You know, information gathering is one of the major segments or important aspects of speaking subtest in OED. So there is a reason we need to know questions. So we'll be looking into types of questions. Then we'll be looking into 3 question types to be used in the speaking subtest. 4, we'll be looking into question types not to be used in the speaking subtest. Then syntax, the word order in a question format or the syntax. 6, need for comprehensive quality practice. And 7th one, tips for competency. Okay, that is the content of today's. As you know, the nurse card, the card you get in speaking, gives around 3 or 4, 5 tasks. As of now, in 2.4, the transformed segment of OED, you have more tasks to be completed, and it makes it easier. And the task 1 normally is ask what he knows about the stroke, or what she knows about the strokes, or what she knows about the disease condition. Okay, any condition, what the patient knows about the disease, or whatever the questions you want to ask. First task is to ask. Then you have explain, reassure, empathize, and advise. Okay, there is a spelling mistake, don't worry. So initially, what we have to do is use of open-ended questions followed by closed-ended questions. I'm going to give you a glance into the question types. Then we'll be going into the question format, how to frame questions. This I'm doing today because this is the most often requested concern in the Mentors Hour. Many have repeatedly asked me how to ask questions is an issue for them. Okay, so for example, how are you feeling? Okay, what do you know about strokes, or whatever the condition you can say. I have taken strokes, one example, or pain I have taken. So for usually we start with open-ended questions, then you can continue followed by closed-ended questions. So for example, open-ended means what do you know about strokes? Means the patient is free to speak. Open-ended. Open-ended is the opening of the patient, facilitating opening of the patients or allowing him to speak in detail, him or her. How are you feeling? How are you feeling means you can say so many things, a lot of things you can speak about these problems or symptoms or sufferings, all those things. Tell me about your family. So he's free to speak a lot. Tell me about your pain. Okay, he can speak a lot about pain. So those are the open-ended questions. Coming to closed-ended questions. Now, where is the pain? Exactly, you are asking for a location. The patient will have to say, where is the pain, or show where is the pain. Do you have any pain at the moment? Yes or no? That's why I call it closed-ended questions. And more detailed answers are not expected there. Are you married? Yes or no? Okay, that's a closed-ended question. So you are over medicating, right? So you have to make a statement and ask him right or wrong. He has to say yes, right or wrong. Yes. Okay. That's a simple idea. So what do you think might be causing your dizziness? That is an open-ended question. Allow freedom to express to the patient or the patient party. So you seem a little uncomfortable about reducing your medication. Is that right? That is a closed-ended question. So you're supposed to say right or wrong, yes or no. Okay. I'm giving you some examples, then I'll come back to. Now, open-ended questions can be transformed into closed-ended questions as well. Okay. It can be used in either way. It is better to know both the ways. So open-ended question is, what do you know about strokes? Okay. Or closed-ended questions is, where is the pain? So these are the, how are you feeling? Do you have any pain at the moment? Closed-ended. Tell me about your family. Are you married? The same question is, tell me about your family. Are you married? It's about family. Can you, sorry for the interruption. Can you come next week on Tuesday for your follow-up? That's the open-ended question that could be asked in closed-ended question type. When are you available for your follow-up appointment? So this both questions feel same. What do you know about strokes, or where is the pain? There is a closed-ended. How are you feeling? Do you have any pain at the moment? There's a closed-ended question. Tell me about your family. Are you married? So these are the two types of questions. Can you come next week on Tuesday for your follow-up? When are you available for your follow-up appointment? When means immediately they have to say Tuesday or day after tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. So closed-ended questions give no chance of detailed explanation. Yes or no answer is expected, whereas open-ended questions allows the patient or the patient caretaker to speak in detail. Yeah. Do you exercise regularly? Is open-ended. Tell me about how much physical activity do you get daily? Okay. Now probing questions. One more type of questions where you can, which you can use in your speaking is probing questions. This is the aim is to gain more information to facilitate patient's response. Though you have asked an open-ended questions, or after your closed-ended questions, you can ask for gain more information by asking probing questions, or probes we call it. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? When the patient is speaking on something about the pain or something, then you can ask, how do you feel about that? Or is there anything that I left out? Is there anything that I left out? Would you like to add anything to that? Is there anything that alleviates your pain? And how long have you had these problems? So these are the probes. We call it probes or probing questions, you can say if you want. Yeah. So to gain more details. Don't worry, I'm coming back to the way how to ask questions. And this is only background, I tell you. Today's main focus is how to frame questions. So question, do not use multiple questions or compound questions. Both mean same. And do not use leading questions. Leading questions usually doesn't give the patient for patient freedom to answer properly what they want. Okay. Don't use compound or leading questions. Avoid compound questions. For example, so you are worried about taking too much medication and the possible side effects. Okay, sentence joined together by fanboys, you know, the conjunctions, fanboys, you know, those 7 conjunctions. Must not use compound questions. Sentences used by conjunctions should not be asked in the speaking subtest. Okay. That's because that will confuse the patient. Okay, now question multiple compound questions. How do you feel this morning? Did you get enough sleep last night and enough to eat for breakfast? Compound question, 3 questions compiled together. This should not be happening. Okay, where do you live and how many people live with you? So which question is the patient is supposed to answer? When you ask 2 or 3 questions, they will be confused regarding the answer. So never ever use multiple questions or compound questions. Ask simple question, then after the response, go to the next question. Did stress, traveling, or something else cause the problem? So these are the various multiple ways to use multiple questions. Multiple ways to use multiple questions or compound questions. So either you can put comma or hyphen, then here comma, then or conjunction is used. So don't use this type of questions in your speaking subtest. What have you been eating this past month? How much do you eat at one time? how often do you eat? So here you have used conjunctions and commas, but here continuously we are asking 3 questions at a stretch. Never do that. Ask 1 question, then give a pause, let the patient or the patient party speak, answer the question, then go to the next question. Yes, do not use these types, multiple types or compound questions not to be used. Now, how can you transform these compound questions or multiple questions into the leading or open-ended questions? So how do you feel this morning? Did you get enough sleep last night and enough to eat for breakfast? You can just transform them into simple questions like, how do you feel this morning? Okay, the first part of the question. Then let the patient answer. After the response, again you ask, how did you sleep last night? Second part of this compound question. Okay, and then how was breakfast this morning? The third part of this multiple question type. Okay, that can be put into, transformed into 3 simple questions. Okay, where do you live and how many people live with you? That's a compound question or multiple question. That can be transformed into, tell me about your living situation. Okay, did stress, traveling or something else cause the problem? Okay, what do you think? What do you think caused the problem? Okay, that is transformed into, instead of saying did stress, traveling or something else cause the problem, you ask what do you think caused the problem. Next, what have you been eating this past month? How much do you eat at one time? How often do you eat? Okay, what have you been eating this past month? How much do you eat at one time? How often do you eat? So these 3 questions, transform them into a simple question. Tell me about your eating habits this past month. So he can explain. All these 3 questions could be answered by the patients when he speaks in detail. Yes. So this is the way we transform multiple questions into the normal questions. Yes. So also do not use leading questions. Lead the patient towards a particular answer. Leading questions means you are supposed to, the patient is made to answer in a particular way. So there is no freedom for the one second. There is no freedom for the patient. He has to answer in a particular way, yes or no, as you lead the patient to answer in that particular manner. You are not eating well, are you? Means you are supposed to, the patient is supposed to say, yes, I don't eat well, or I am not eating well. So that's called a leading question. That's not supposed to be asked. You can transform leading question into other healthy questions. Have you noticed any change to your appetite? Have you noticed any change to your appetite? That is the way to ask. So avoid leading questions. Okay, there are many other ways. Just if you are not understanding these things properly, I'm not going into detail, because if you go into my previous session video, speaking step by step, I have given in detail all these things. Now I am just glancing over it so that when we come to the question formation aspect, we'll be able to understand better. So there are other types of things: clarifying vague statements, clarifying information that is unclear. Sorry, I missed what you said there about nervousness. Could you repeat that, please? Okay. So making a statement, then you ask a question, clarifying. Okay. Summarizing information also, you need to ask something. So, right. Okay. So far as I understand, you said X, Y, and Z. Means you said this one, and this one. Right? So that's a way of asking a question in summarizing. Okay. Now we get into the task of focus of today: syntax, or the word order in a we are in a question. But before that, I want to give you an idea. Association, as I said, association and visualization is the greatest skills, the mother skills for learners to learn anything. So we are going to associate with the word order in a sentence, so that in connection with the word order syntax in a sentence, we understand the word order in a question. Okay. So we have already dealt with sentence structure, syntax, as well as definition syntax. We'll be just having a glance on it. Based on that, associating into that particular syntax, we will be learning question formation or syntax word order in a question. Just have a glance over it. Sneha likes sweets. I have already dealt with it. Sneha subject, likes verb, object, sweets, SVO order. And as I told you, in all other languages, it is not SVO order, subject, verb, object, only in English, but all the vernaculars in India, you have subject, object, word, order. Okay, the order changes. The verb object comes here. From here, in English, object comes to the middle part, okay, of a simple sentence. In all other Kannada, Malayalam, or Tulu, or Tamil, or any other language, you have SOV order, okay, just for your understanding. I'm not going to deal with it. Word order in a definition, I told you. When you have to define a condition, for example, if the patient is asking, is telling you that I don't know what is stroke, I have no idea about stroke, then you have to define that condition. Or if you have to define DVT or any disease or condition, there's a syntax or the word order in a definition. As I told you, name, then comes verb, then comes class, then connective word, and the last is the characteristics or the features or functions, whatever. Okay, symptoms you call it. For example, definition: a computer is a machine that stores and processes information. You have all this particular syntax or the order. Name is computer, verb is, class is a machine, and the connective word is that, and characteristics is stores and processes information. When I'm speaking about a disease, I'll give you one example. You might be speaking about the symptoms instead of characteristics. Okay, if you, now that one was like computer, neuter gender, now you have a human being, then the connective word will change. That's why an accountant is a person who analyzes and deals with finances. So name is an accountant, is verb, class is a person, it belongs to human beings, per person, and who, instead of which, it becomes who, connective word, and characteristics analyzes and deals with finances. It can be characteristics or functions or features or symptoms. For example, you see definition. Deep vein thrombosis is a condition where a clot forms in the calf veins. So you should have this idea in your mind, so we can clearly define any of the conditions or disease conditions or diseases easily. So you see deep vein thrombosis, how you identify all these aspects. Name, deep vein, DVT, then verb is, class, a condition, and the connective word where characteristics, a clot forms in the calf veins. A clot forms in the calf veins. This is just for a glance. Based on this, having an association with that, or having a visual picture of this particular sentence structure, as well as the structure of a definition, syntax of a definition. Now we will get into word order in a question. Okay. So let's ask some questions. Know the question format or the syntax in a question. Okay. What is your name? Where do you come from? What do you do? Simple questions. Where are you from? Are you married? Do you like your job? And would you like something to drink? Okay, this could be some examples. We will work out on that into the syntax. Okay, now question word order. Okay, first one is question word. When you have simple questions, the question word comes first. What? The next step is verb, is. Next is subject, your. And rest of the question, name. Okay, what is your name? Your is subject, name. Then whatever comes, rest of the question can be the question mark. So you have question word, verb, subject, rest of the question, whatever is remaining, and question mark. To initiate, you should begin the question exactly with the question word, verb, and the subject. Then whatever comes next, you can follow. That order should not be changed. Most of our questions we are able to speak or write in English, but most of us have challenge in asking questions. Okay. Yes. Now, for example, let's see how the question format works. See, the other question, the questions which we read, the question word in the first column, verb, the to be form of the verb in the second column, subject in the third column, rest of the question, then question mark. What is your name? Question mark. Okay, where do you come from? Question mark. What do you do? Question mark. Where are you from? Question mark. Okay. Now, when you don't have the WH word in the beginning of a question, what happens? You begin with the to be form of the verb. The question begins with the to be form when you don't have the WH form. Are you married? Okay, you can't ask. You are married, then you can't ask question mark. You can't say that. Okay. Are you married? Do you like your job? Normally we ask, do you like your job? No, that's not a question. Do you like your job? Would you like something to drink? Okay. Then how are you? How do you do? All these are question formats. Okay. Now the question format, syntax. And when you do it for a person, when you ask a question for a person, who is that man? Place, where is your wallet? Thing, what do you see? Time or date, when? Those things are simple, you know. And manner, how is your meal? They're very basic. Word order in a question. So let's see those words. See the question word. Okay, who is that man? So the first who question word, verb, subject, rest of the question. Okay, where is your wallet? So here that man comes together. There's a small mistake. That man comes together, then the question mark. In that is the subject, that man together. Where is your wallet? Okay, your wallet is the subject. And what do you see? What do is the verb, to be form of the verb, and you is the subject. And what is supper time? Okay, how is your meal? You know, all these segments are there in each question. So make sure you ask your questions properly. Okay, now the question format, syntax. The difference is here now, little one step ahead. Now I said the question word, then verb, then subject, then rest of the question and question mark. Here, one step ahead we are going. When you speak of a degree, for a degree, along with the question word, you have to add adjective or adverb. For example, how tall is Michael Jordan? How tall is the adjective? So it comes with the question word along in the first column. And when you speak of a possession, whose possession, whatever you are speaking, whose plus noun, whose keys are these, whose books are these, whose car is these, okay, is this. So for a possession, along with the WH word, you have the noun. For a distinction, along with the WH word, you have the noun. That which dress do you prefer? Which subject do you like? So the noun comes with the along with the question word. And for a specific time, okay, for a specific time, what time? The time factor, time comes along with the question word. What? What time is the game? And for a specific color, when I speak about a color, the color aspect comes along with the question word in the first column. What color is your new shirt? Okay. So when do you get the pain? Now coming to your subject, medical subjects, when do you get the pain? When is the question word, do is the verb, you is the subject, get the pain is rest of the question and question mark. Now without question word, WH word, you have does it affect your sleep? Does the pain affect your sleep or does it affect your sleep? Can you describe the pain? So this has to come here. Okay, there is a typing mistake. Can has to come in the second column. There's a mistake. Can has to come in the second column and you is here. Okay, can you come in the second column? Let me correct it now. Okay, can you describe the pain? Is it sharp or dull pain? Okay, how would you rate your pain? Have you taken anything to relieve the pain? Does it spread to other parts of the body? So this is the format or the word order, how you have to ask the questions. Otherwise, native speakers may not understand exactly what you mean. Okay, these are things already, you know, pain assessment model I have given you. So you can think of this way. Some examples, where exactly is the pain, what were you doing when the pain started, and character, what does the pain feel like, then radiation, does the pain go anywhere else, associated symptoms and time duration, how long have you had the pain. This I have explained to you. All these Socrates, SOCRATES is the abbreviation, whereby systematically you can ask questions on any type of pains. Okay, and you can adapt it to all the other disease conditions. Okay, the next one I also told you just to associate with the previous studies. When I spoke about pain, we spoke about DSRTC, Delhi State Road Transport Corporation, probably. DSRTC is the abbreviation where you speak about duration. How long have you had the pain? So when you speak about the site, can you tell me exactly where the pain is? And severity, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your pain? And radiation, does it spread to the other parts of the body? The relief, have you taken anything to relieve the pain? Time, when do you get the pain? Does it affect your sleep? Character, can you describe the pain? Is it sharp or dull pain? Okay. And cause, is there anything that makes it worse? That's a mistake, word typing mistake. Is there anything that triggers the pain? Okay, this is just, you know, these things. Otherwise, you can go into, there's a detailed explanation of all these things in the previous video or the session that is uploaded in the YouTube channel, that is speaking step by step. Okay, the PQRST, the other model I gave you, PQRST method of assessment. There also you can ask for each one, what were you doing when the pain started, all those things. I don't want to explain. What does it feel like? Okay, just to give an idea. Okay. Yes, coming to, for example, each aspect, you can ask various questions. About provocation, you can ask what provoked the pain, what makes it worse. You see, what is the question word? Provoked is the verb, and the pain is the subject. Again, what is the question word? Makes is the verb. It is the subject, and it means pain. Worse is the rest of the question and question mark. And what makes it better? What is the question word? Makes is the verb. It is the subject. Better is rest of the question and question mark. And every question goes in that way. Did the pain occur at rest or during exertion? Now, what you have to do, you have to put your questions into these templates. Try to write down the questions, what you have to ask in the speaking subtest. Try to put them in these templates and assess whether you are writing it correctly. Did the pain wake you up? For example, when your speaking partner is speaking, write down those questions being asked and try to put into the templates, and you can give corrections. That's why you said we don't need, in fact, for OET, we don't require for any subtest an individual trainer, because the way I teach you, I'm giving you clear templates where you can put your, for example, questions you can put into one. As sentences, I have given you almost all types of sentences with the different tenses. The templates are given on different modules, on different sessions. So you can clearly find out, did the pain wake you up? Okay. So about quality also, you can ask sharp, dull, spacing, all those questions. We don't go into that. Radiation, you can ask questions like, does the pain move anywhere? You have all these things. And ask the patient to point to where she feels the pain. It's fine. Then you have severity scale. You can ask the question I told you. And timing, you can ask, when did it start? What's the onset, slow or sudden? How long has it lasted? Is it a constant or intermittent pain? Okay, I'm going a little faster on these slides because this is there already in the previous session. Okay, does it come and go? This is being explained. Have you had the pain previously? I just want to confirm the template works with every type of question that you have to ask in the speaking subtest. Okay, so last tips, speaking success. Already I have been telling you this always. I want to repeat it because this is the thing: competence, confidence, and attitude. Okay, most of you have competency, you have the competence, but you have no confidence. Okay, and yes, if you have confidence, you don't have the attitude. You require a positive attitude along with competency and confidence. These three things are must for the success, and all the training institutes will help you for competency or gaining competence by practice, practice, and practice. But then by doing hard work, you are not going to easily succeed in OET. OET is a double benchmarked competitive exam, internationally approved exam. So it tests not only your competence in language, it also tests your personality, a sort of confidence. Unless you have no confidence, you'll not be able to, especially in speaking, you'll not be able to answer well, and your positive attitude approach towards the exam. So that's what I said. You should fall in love with the subtest, every subtest. Until and unless you fall in love with the subtest, stop practicing and find out how you can fall in love with the subtest. Okay. So some of the competence tips are this: record yourself, speaking testimonials. Okay. Record yourself what you speak and listen to it. It's the best way to gain competency and confidence and a positive attitude in your speaking. And you feel, okay, I feel very bad to speak and record myself and listen to that. I don't love to listen to my record. That's a fact that you have to get out of that inhibition. Okay, until then you have to continue this speaking testimonials. Okay, then have a speaking partner. Then beware of illusion of competency. Okay, knowledge means not skills. Understanding is not skills. What you doing now, what I am giving you is only knowledge, and the skills happens only by practice. Okay, and that is it. Thank you. And you need me to go back to any of the slides, you can let me know. Am I audible?
Yes, Father.
Yes.
Yes.
If you
Yes,
want me
Father.
to go back to any of the slides, I can go back. Otherwise, I'll put in gallery mode. We can go into Q&A. Question
In
and
the beginning
answer.
slide, Father. Beginning
Beginning-
2, 3 slide.
Which one?
Third or fourth slide.
Okay, one second. My computer is not taking my command, so I have to scroll back. My escape button is not functioning. Let me check once again. Okay, fine. Thank you. Beginning is background, I believe, somewhere here. First slide, second slide, third.
Yes, Father.
This one,
No, the previous one.
previous one. This one,
Yes. This one.
yes. Initially, use of open-ended questions. First, you have to use open-ended questions so that they feel comfortable. For example, what do you know about strokes or whatever? What do you know about heart attack? What do you know about disc prolapse? What do you know about DVT? What do you know about heart attack? Whatever. Okay. So when you ask them, whatever they know, they will speak. Otherwise, they say, I'm blind. I know nothing about strokes. Okay. Then what is your response? Immediately, you have to remember definition. Definition need not by heart definition. As I told you, start with the name, disease, strokes is, then verb, then to which class it belongs. It is a disease or a condition. Then the connective word, then 1 or 2 characteristics. You can give detailed characteristics, 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever you want to. Okay, so that is your response. But today's focus was not on speaking. It was only on question formation, syntax of question, because many of them have been asking continuously how to ask questions. Okay. Yes. And how are you feeling? That's an open-ended question. Hope you got the idea. Open-ended means the patients are free to speak as they wish. Closed-ended means they have to say yes or no. They have to agree or disagree. That's all. How are you feeling? How are you feeling means the patient might come out with all the complaints, a list of complaints. I could not sleep. I was not able to eat my breakfast. I was not feeling comfortable. My stomach was upset, or I had some diarrhea, or anything. They can keep on speaking. Okay. Then sometimes you see the question need not be a question, especially in subtest in OET. Tell me about your family. It's not a question actually, but then it initiates or it gets information from the patient. Tell me about your pain. Okay, is it a question? No, in fact, it's not a question, but in OET, we can use these types of statements whereby you ask the person to live. Actually, there is no question over there. Tell me about your family. There is no question, but then it's a way of asking the person to speak about your family. Is that the one, CJ brother?
Yes, Father. Thank you.
Anyone else need to go anywhere? You might have felt some slides I was going faster because I have already dealt with it in detail in a speaking step by step. That's why. But then I have to put the things in context, question formation, why we have to form the questions in this way. That's why I took those slides and showed you all these questions come under this format. Yes, someone else wanted to ask something.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning.
Father, can you please once again tell me that with the time, that slide,
Time. Sorry, I didn't get
with the
it.
time, with the profession.
Okay.
Position on time.
Profession. I didn't get you clearly, probably. Anyone else understood? Could you tell me which slide? On what context is that? Is it on the syntax?
Yes, Father.
Tell me your name.
Father Judy.
Juby. Where, which one? Can you identify as I
Father,
saw?
with the time, with the can, with
Okay. I got it. Yes. Here you mean this one? You mean?
Yes, that's
Okay. Now the question format. As I said earlier, I told you this is only with the question word, right? Here only question word is there. But what happens if you have to speak about a degree? Then along with the question word, you should know where to add that extra word, no? So you cannot add it anywhere else in the question format. In the first column, you have to add. First column means here. Along these question words, you have to add these expressions. For example, degree, adjective. How tall is Michael Jordan or how tall is Jubi Verghese? So the tall is the adjective or the adverb, whatever comes there, should go along with the question word. How? Also possession, noun should go. Whose keys are these? When speaking about possession, the noun should go with the WH word. Distinction, noun should go with WH word. Which dress do you prefer? For a specific time, what time? What time is the game? So what I want to tell you is that it goes in the first column, okay, along with the question word. For a specific color, what color is your new dress? What is the color of your new dress? That's the way we ask. That's not the proper thing. Okay, what is the game time? That is not the way to ask. What is the game time? Normally, you have students, children asking that. Which is your preferred dress? But then you ask which dress do you prefer? Whose these keys are? You can't ask they. So you can't change this syntax. That's a normal syntax. For example, you can't say she sweets likes. You can say she sweets likes, or Jubi sweets likes. You can say in English. You have to say Jubi likes sweets. So the word order syntax is important. Okay, this is not only for you, for any student, even your kids, you can teach them this if they are learning from the very beginning definitions and all that. If you teach them, if they are studying in primary or high school or early college days, if they learn these formats, it becomes very easy. Even definition, they need not by heart at all. They'll be able to just remember because they'll be able to visualize this format. Immediately, they can learn. Is that clear, Jubi?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Father.
Okay. In the meantime, I want to congratulate the Empowered Army team who took up the previous session. Okay, houseful session. Okay, that was great and wonderful experience of the feedbacks I got from the students. Many have sent me personal feedbacks, like saying that it is like some of the messages we are reading. So we also want to become like them. Okay, so what should we do? There are some of the questions. Yes. So I told them better you ask them how to become like them. I am not like them, so I will not be able to help you. Right? Yes. Come on, anybody wants to speak something? You can take 10 minutes.
Yeah, good morning, Father.
Good morning. And also you can give me feedback, okay, if I am going very fast and if you cannot understand, you want me to slow down. Now, these are the complementary classes on concerns asked in the Mentors Hour. So what I feel sometimes they are asked by the beginners, those who have attended might feel repetition. That's why I go slightly faster on aspects which I have already dealt with. Yes, Shinoj. Sorry for that.
Yeah, my name is Shinoj.
Yes.
Father, I just want to ask you two things. First, the introduction and the conclusion. Initially, in the introduction, how did you feel that it is appropriate to start the conversation with the patient? Initial conversation. And the last one, you have mentioned already that the conclusion, in the conclusion, you told that AB like X, Y, Z, the one by one. So how would can you put in a sentence that it's like the patient?
It's like I tell you the whole steps, 5 to 6 steps. Last one I just copied that same slide from the speaking step by step. I have given you because just telling you exactly one mode is not enough. I have given different ways to start, how to start with. Ending also I said summarizing, said X, Y, Z. That actually I did not wanted to bring in that here, but just to say that you can even ask questions like that. See, as of now, you have told me about X, Y, Z means 3 aspects, whatever you have, we are summarizing this, and this. Maybe the symptoms and your challenges and your problems with the medication. Am I right? Right? I'm asking a question. It's not actually in a question format.
So it's like a reassuring.
Yeah, it is a summarizing. We call it one of the segments of assessment is summarizing. You should be able to summarize whatever the patient has said. Okay, in general, for which you have to have a framework in your mind before you speak. And that framework I have given clearly in the speaking step by step, clearly what should be this framework. So what happens for you, the best way to practice, like if you have at least 1 month, is to run into these frameworks. No? Now you have a clear framework given in the other day, somebody told me like, you are exactly spoon feeding us. Like, no, I have given, sometimes I feel ashamed of explaining to graduates and postgraduates in such a way, but then still I thought if there are some beginners, let them also be make use of it. Now, for example, all the possibilities I have given, if I answer Shinoj, your first question, if there are beginners, they will misunderstand it as this is the only way to work. If I give you one example.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
best way is to get into that step by step, whereby I have given you different formats on all the steps. That's why I put the name as step by step. So all the steps of speaking, what you have to start with, every task. And I know it, and this particular slide is just snatched from that slides, which I prepared, summarizing, no? So summarizing is the last part of it. You summarize the whole conversation in a sentence, saying
Okay.
we have discussed with about your pain, about your dressing, about your follow-up medication. Am I right? Right?
Yes.
We've chopped with that. So we are telling them, summarizing, and that's one of the skills that we require, telling them these are the things we have spoken about. Okay, but then that can, even the introduction till last, the 6 steps comes connected. Unless you have a framework when you start speaking. Framework in the sense, I told you, I believe, as soon as when you have 1 minute time, just jot down at the back of that sheet of paper, you get it, a cue card, you just write down your framework. What is the condition, disease they have asked, what is the framework you are going to follow? Not the whole thing, but the steps. So that is the steps you are going to, based on those steps, you will be asking questions. And based on those steps, you will be explaining the things. Based on those steps, you will be summarizing the points. Based on those steps, you will be convincing the patient. So everything depends on that 1 minute golden time.
Okay.
1 minute golden time.
Golden time.
If we have a clear framework, a visualization of the whole speak about the disease or condition or the problem that the patient is facing, if you make a framework in 1 minute, then definitely you are successful in it. But then don't get into just practice, but go. Definitely, I tell you the video on step by step, because I'm convinced, because I had to take 1 or 2 slides. When I went back to that slides, my own slides, I was wondering how detailed it is given. That's why I'm telling you. Today morning, just I went back to collect some slides. Then I was finding all these things are being explained there. Why should I explain again? So only I just had a sliding glance over it, because if there are some newcomers, let them benefit from it. Is that fine?
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Father.
Rani Raju, yes, you can speak, no problem. You need not type such long things, right? This is the time to speak, to say we are typing time, yes.
Father, I have hesitancy to talk.
No, don't worry. That's why this chance is, golden chance is given. This is to build up your confidence and to give you
No,
some
I am
practice.
I'm thinking in between, if I have made any mistake,
Yeah.
I am thinking like that.
Yeah, your mistakes are my syllabus for the next session.
Ah,
Okay.
Thank you, Father.
Which means if none of you make mistakes, I need not take sessions at all.
Yeah,
That's
really,
why.
you are a
Yeah.
great teacher. I'm damn sure of
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
it.
This way, a teacher can be only a teacher or a great teacher only when there are great students. Without students, no teacher,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thank
what
you,
I
sir.
tell you
Thank
again, what I'm telling you, probably I have asked some of my students, maybe degree students, to take a session for you, for those who are interested, to give you the relevance of what you call feedbacks. Feedbacks in the sense of learning experience. See, why we are making you give the feedback, because I have saved almost all of them. And those who are getting into benchmark, there is a special segment in the app, EduSkills app, where you can give the feedback or learning experience. So just going through that, we'll be able to assess your standard of language. Okay, because you are expressing your emotions, your feelings over there. So it's not just like writing. For example, you loved a class, you loved the slides, or you loved the process, or you had new learning. So you understood something in your mind. Now you are trying to put them into words, into sentences. So that brings in competency. Not only that, that will help me to assess you, to understand your competency. Yes.
For father, if we are typing, it would take time now to say. If we are texting any wrong message, we can see whether it is right or wrong. There is a time if we are talking to directly, there is automatically we are telling. Sometimes there we will get the mistakes, no.
Yeah.
So that is the thing. Most of the people or most of the students doesn't want to talk.
Yeah, you can talk or write, type, or you can even write and send an image. See, writing is better than typing always. But then normally your letter and all corrections will be very difficult without the typing. That's the only issue why people recommend and type text. Maybe gather your doubts, okay? Yes.
Father, the setting is emergency ward.
Okay.
How can we start it?
Those discussions cannot work now because it will be like the discussion should be restricted to what we learned today. That will go into a different segment. I'll have to tell you so many things, which will take at least this. I'll have to answer it to take 10 to 15 minutes per person. No? So those things I can assist you after once you are thorough with your step-by-step video. No? Once you understand all those things, then I can assist you in that. I have given all these aspects over there. Okay. General discussions, like it will take long time and may not be relevant to everybody, you know. As of now, what the question formation and the aspects of today, we'll discuss focused on that.
Good morning, Father. My name is Manju Sakaria.
Yes, Manju, yes. You are not seeing.
Father, for speaking subtest, we have to ask the questions in a polite manner, isn't it, Father?
Now, politeness is not only speaking everywhere. Wherever you deal with, politeness is must. Okay, and India actually, we have all these things. Even to deal with your kids, politeness is the rule. And you know, as per the universal international standards, you have no right even over your own kids, your own children. Government has the right. It's not the parents who have the rights, nor the teachers who have the rights. Government has the rights over all the minors. As a lawyer, I'm telling you, more than you have the right. So be polite anywhere, everywhere you should be polite. Definitely to the patient, because I'm telling you the scenario is different. For example, you go to America, it's not the patient who takes appointment, but the doctor or the physiotherapist and take an appointment with the patient. If the patient says to the physiotherapist, I can't have the treatment today, the physiotherapist has to request the patient for a date, appointment. You know, then go to the residence of the patient on appointment by the physiotherapist. Then, as per their convenience, with all your politeness, otherwise they will say, please get lost. I don't want to continue today. Then you will not get your money, your payment, unless they sign it. You know, unless the patient signs, for example, after physiotherapy, you will not get your payment from the government. So you have to be polite. Here, what happens? You are the topper. Nurse or the doctor. When doctor is not there, nurse is the topmost authority. And you can shout and yell at any patient. That will not happen in the normal conditions. Don't think that. That human respect we don't have. That's why this question happens. Otherwise, normally, if you are accustomed to some European countries, you will never ask this question because it is like, should I wear my dress when I go out? Exactly the same tone of the question. Do you need to wear the dress when you go out? Yes. So be polite. Everywhere be polite as possible. Patients have the right.
Please kindly like that words we have to add in the questions or?
Yeah. Normally what I say, it is not wrong, but kindly is an Indian version of the word. It's not very much used in native speakers, by the native speakers. Please is the better word. And okay. Could you, all those expressions are there. Could, no, may, all those words, modal verbs are polite expressions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Father.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you for
yes.
today's session, Father. Even our children also will get benefit from this class. Thank you.
Definitely, these are basically needed for everybody who wants to write something in English. Sentence structure, question format, and definitions, all these things. This is specifically because continuously, I think some people were asking me how to ask questions in speaking, how to ask questions in the mentors hour. That's why this is a very small segment. So I wanted to connect it with speaking and do that. So
Okay, Father. Thank you.
yes,
Father.
Manju. Yeah, welcome. You are most welcome.